65. They said, no, this heart's for somebody 55. And they turned around and brought him home.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to do a transplant.
Yeah, he was too old. He even went to Washington one time, and they turned him down.
65.
The VA, that was more of a VA deal, wasn't it? VA?
I don't know.
I would have said, oh no, I'm sorry, I meant 55.
Well, he was too honest.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was really bad. But
it would have saved his
Well, he
life.
came back after his initial heart attack. He came back and did a lot more in the house. Then he had the second one.
well, what he did, Bob, he went out and he wanted to put a fence around his house.
Yeah.
L.
And he went out there and he took what do you call it? A pole digger?
Post hole digger. Yeah.
Post hole digger.
Yeah.
And he dug all those things and put up
But I
a
don't
chain
know
link
what,
fence. And that's what did him in.
What letters?
But he came back and
Yes, wait, toe.
he almost finished our house, not quite. And he had another attack.
That's close enough to see why.
And then after he died, Mark, his son Mark,
Yeah.
came over and Mark and I finished it.
He was up to the hall by
Paper
then.
hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, boy, that was sad though, you know. But, you know, Johnny had a mind of his own. And he did what he thought was right and what he wanted to do. You know, if something looked real good here and something didn't look too good, and he liked the not so good one, he'd take the not so good one. It was, see what he could do with it. But of all my brothers, you know, there were 4 of them in World War II. 4 of them. And they would send their allotments home, and my mom would put them in the bank for them. And Johnny says, no, Mom, don't put my allotment in the bank. Go ahead and use it because you'll need it. And so what he sent home, his allotment check, Mom used to maintain the house in Clifton. Mm-hmm. And that's what he did. And when he came home, she never saw him for 3 years. And when he came home, I remember I was in the living room and the 2 front windows, and I saw this dark uniform with this white hat go right past the window and come in the front door, and there was Johnny.
And wasn't there a song playing or something?
I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you, because that was a wartime one, and I was playing it on the, you know, I had those big records.
Yeah, 78.
Yeah, and I was playing him, and I just happened to see him go by, and it was the 2 front windows. But Johnny was okay. So then when he came home, he didn't have a dime to his name. He had absolutely nothing, and we had bunk beds up in that front bedroom.
Yeah.
The girls was this side, the boys was this side, and they had bunk beds there. There were I think 3 or 4 of them. There was Johnny, but then Bobby, my brother Bob, and his wife took the dining room as their bedroom on the first floor. So they had that part. So Johnny and Margie wanted to get married, and he was so happy that she waited for him. She didn't want anybody else. And so Margie married Johnny. I made all the wedding dresses.
You did? I didn't know you were a sewer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made the girls' dresses for my wedding.
Did you?
My 2 little sisters, not the big one. I had a rainbow wedding, so I made dresses for them. They were like
I
5
want a
and 7.
rainbow wedding.
See, I did. But
Did you
know,
have a rainbow wedding?
pardon?
Did Johnny have a rainbow wedding? You know, the different colored dresses or not?
No, we couldn't even buy material.
Oh.
And I bought window curtains.
Oh, okay.
They were like
Shears?
lace.
Oh,
Oh, that
lace.
would be pretty.
So I made all the dresses, and Velma made the flower girl because she always had a flower girl.
Oh dear.
So, anyway, then Margie and Johnny got married, and she lived at her house. Johnny lived at our house. Even after their wedding, they didn't have anything at all. And so my brother Joe, you know, the prankster he was, worked for Western Union. So he puts on this. He has this Western Union outfit on, and he goes and knocks on the door and he says, telegram for Pop Hannard, telegram for Pop Hannard. So, he was always so happy and laughing. Okay, so he comes down and he gets the thing, the telegram, and he opened it and it says, be my love, be my honey, we'll live on love and daddy's money. Then Pop Hannard would just laugh again. But when he'd come to the house, they would take a spoon and they'd have one of those little plastic flies, look like you had a big fly in your, and they'd paste it to the back, and he'd go to pick it up, and the big old fly just stayed right in there.
Yeah.
And so then he'd go to the bathroom to wash his hands. Then they had a bar of soap in there that was black.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, you put it on and black suds all over everything. He laughed at everything. So he had a good time. But you know, then Johnny and Joe shared a house over
Yeah, they bought a house together on Harrison Avenue.
And it was right there where Skyline Chili originated. The Greek people had the Skyline Chili, and Jack worked for this chili guy, whatever their name was. Those
The
are
Greek,
wrong.
the Skyline Greek guy?
Yeah, the guys in Skyline Chili. So that's where Jack was a real good cook. So anyway, they bought this house on the corner there, overlooked the whole city, everything. And so it was the top of Harrison Avenue there. So they lived there, and Joe took the first floor, and Johnny took the second. So they bought that house and stayed there until they had their own houses built. Yeah. Now Johnny and Joe, they practically built their own house. They just have what do you call those people come, the permit guys? They'd wait for a permit to do electric. Mm-hmm. Then they'd wait and they'd say, well, I said, how you doing on the house? Well, we'd be going okay, but we had to wait till the permit guys came.
It's funny how that's still the same, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's changed.
That didn't change at all.
And then they would do that, so then they'd start on their electricity. Then they would do everything. So they really built their own house except the roof, because Margie's brother did roof work. He was a roofer, so he did that part. But it was something else. And Johnny and Margie, they finally got a house of their own, and it was just so nice. Because they were always, they were married, but they was always separated. So, but worked out. But Johnny was one of the most generous, genuine people that you could ever find on this earth. He didn't have a wicked bone in his body. You'd ask him for a favor, and he would say, oh yeah, we can do that. Oh sure, where is it? I'll help you. That's how
But
he
you
worked.
didn't want to cross him.
Didn't want to what?
You did not want to cross Johnny, at least when he was young.
Oh, John. Well, you know what?
One of my favorite stories is somebody stole his bicycle.
Oh man. And
And he was riding with Joe down the street, and he saw his bicycle. And he jumped out of Joe's car and ran up to the guy and jerked him off the hospital and the bicycle and gave him a good punch. And the guy says, I bought that bicycle. And Johnny says, that's my bicycle. And the guy says, no, I bought the bicycle. He says, well, you bought a stolen bicycle. And so he took the bicycle and off he went. He got his bicycle back.
yeah, see.
I would feel bad for the guy
And
that he
it was-
punched.
Yeah, well, the guy bought a stolen bicycle.
Well, you
That
know,
just happened to my coworker. Her
Oh, yeah.
daughter-in-law lives out in the Cape, and woke up in the morning. Her husband, my
Get the, like,
coworker's
pencil, Barbie
son's
doll.
car busted into. His cash for the bridge toll was stolen, and his wife's car was missing from the driveway. And they ended up tracking it on Facebook. This just happened on Friday, and I guess the grandfather stole the vehicle and gave it to his granddaughter as a present, and she's driving around town. My coworker's daughter-in-law posted that somebody stole her car and ended up tracking it. They found out, solved the crime for the police, and they ended up, the granddaughter didn't even know her bike or her car was stolen, and the mother informed her of all this stuff. I probably have the story wrong, but anyway, they ended up parking it at a local Walmart with the keys in it and telling them where they parked it, and they went and got the police and picked up the car.
Wait, but why didn't they want to be like seen?
What's that?
Why did they just park it? Like, why didn't they?
Because she says she didn't want to cause any trouble. She just wanted her car back because she didn't have insurance on the car.
Oh.
They're
Well,
just
you know-
brand new parents, and they didn't have a lot of money.
well, you know, now
But she didn't get her 3 booster seats.
Right, they took the kids, she has 3 young kids, they took the booster seats out.
when,
And
uh,
residential.
That's probably what they wanted to call
Yeah.
it.
you know,
People do that, you know, crazy things like that.
you were talking about Johnny. He always wore a cap, one of those little baseball caps, like. And he'd always have a hat on. So my dad nicknamed him Hat On John. Here comes Hat On John. And so anyway, Johnny would come home. Oh, and he'd be dirty and all clothes torn off of him and everything else. And Mom would say, "Oh, hi, John, what happened to you?" "Oh, 3 of those guys jumped me." The black guys, you know, because we lived in this neighborhood with more black people than there was white people. And says, "Oh, 3 of those guys jumped me." You know, and he'd try to get straightened out. But one time, somebody stole something from Joe. Oh, I know what it was. He used to keep cans of like fruit and stuff in. He had a Model T Ford, and he used that to the day he died. He had dual carburetors in it, and had the rumble seat, the whole business. It was I don't know. I think it might have been a 35 Ford, maybe.
It's a 32.
Yeah.
Or 32. Okay.
It's a Model B.
Okay. So what he had, and there was a shelf like in back of his, where his head was. You know, there was only two people. So on there he would have orange juice, tomato juice. You know, he'd use them instead of people stopping for a Coke or something. He would always have that. So he went to deliver a telegram. And so he goes to this house, and he went in, he delivered the telegram, and he came back out, and he saw this kid swiping his juices. And he told him, "Hey, come here, you know, he ran after him, give me that." And the kid said no, and Joe says, "If you don't put that down there," he says, "I'm going to empty it out of your pockets myself." And the guy says, "I don't have your jam." So Joe picked him up by the legs, and he, you know, bounced him up and down. He said, "Did you get him out yet?" You know, he kept hitting him. So then he got his juice back, and so a little while later, some black guy in this big old Cadillac came. He had a cigar and everything. He says, "Hey, boy, I saw you hurt that boy. You were smacking his head up and down." He says, "No, I wasn't." He says, "I was getting some cans of juice that he stole out of his pockets." And he says, "Well, that boy's all messed up." He says, "His head hurts, his arm all hurts. Oh, he's in terrible shape." And says, "The cops are coming after you." So the cops came, and they said Joe had to go into court, go to court. So he went, and he went somewhere. I don't know whether it was to the court or to see the judge somewhere. And so he said, okay, he says, now tell him what happened. And so Joe told him everything, and they said, and didn't you take that boy? You took that poor boy and shook him by the legs upside down? And Joe says, well, heck, he says, nobody told me he was taller than I was. So by the time of the end of the session and everything, the judge said to Joe, next time do one for me, something like that. He said
So he didn't get charged then or anything, fined or anything?
Oh no, they let him off. Oh, this kid showed up. He had his head all bandaged, and he had a big sling on his arm. And when it was all over, he just pulled it off.
Joe, talk about fruit. Joe started getting sick, and he just wasn't feeling good, and this was going on for quite a while, and finally figured out what it was. He would buy peaches, and he wouldn't clean them.
Oh.
And back then they used arsenic to keep the bugs out.
Oh my gosh!
And he was poisoning himself with arsenic and didn't realize it.
That's a lesson for you all.
That's what you do. You rinse them
You
off.
gotta clean them off.
I didn't rinse my grapes.
But-
I don't rinse my grapes.
What would
I
happen?
rinse them.
That's really bad because grapes.
Yeah.
Well,
Grapes,
I'll take that back. I
Yeah.
think he would clean it, but he wouldn't clean the part where the stem came out. He would just clean them surfacely.
Right, and it's all gland down there.
Yeah, I think he had a rag. If I remember right, because I would ride with him once in a while, and he always had fruit. And he would stop, and peaches were his favorite.
Yes.
Especially
Wasn't he really
at harvest
particular? Wasn't he
time.
really particular about his food?
Don't
Yeah.
drink that nasty water.
Yeah, I think John, didn't he take vitamins too? Not like
I'm talking
Popeye.
about Popeye.
No.
Not Popeye, but
He was, John
Joe.
was particular.
Joe.
Oh,
Joe.
Joe, I thought you said
no,
John.
Joe's the one that was.
But another thing he would do, he would take a raw egg,
Oh no, another Chris.
Did he do that
a
too?
raw egg, and he'd pinch a hole in it about just that size, and he'd stand there and hold that egg and
Yep.
Chris did that too. And I remember one time, I think I was pregnant, and I thought, I think I'm gonna get sick. I mean, he cracked it right in his mouth. I mean,
Yeah, but Nancy, we get on the Island Queen once in a while.
Uh-huh.
The boat that would take you to Coney Island.
Yeah.
And
Thank you,
we'd look overboard and there'd be Joe, and he'd have that river water in his mouth and go, it was like
Spout.
a whale, or, like a spout.
Yeah.
And
With the barges and everything? He'd be in there with the barges and
Oh,
everything?
yeah,
he'd be real
used to swim
close.
every day.
he'd come right up to the boat.
Well, right after the war, there wasn't a whole lot of boats on the river and stuff.
Oh.
And he would swim across it. Then when the boats got any more boats, he would walk up the edge. He owned a marina down there on Eastern Avenue. He would walk up, and then he would get in the water, and he was real good with the backstroke. And he would just stay close to the edge and drift back down to the marina.
Okay, now he owned that marina, and he built his own houseboat.
Right, yeah, he
They called them all hot rod.
Right.
They were all red and white hot rod.
Hot rod, yeah.
So he did that. So
Is the tuner
somebody,
off or is it automatically go on?
so somebody down
It's
there,
off. You don't see it
Bob,
red
was
lights,
stealing
It's off.
gasoline from his gasoline pump at where
At
the
the
pier.
marina, yeah.
So Joe went out and he says,
No,
"No, he'd always poke his finger at you.
String, the small
I'm gonna
string.
tell you, if he had a fork in his hand,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you,
I have it down.
He
to
said,
18 right now for the way I was playing it.
Oh, okay.
don't take any
I haven't played it
gasoline.
in like a year.
Don't
So-
buy any gas. The people would take
Don't
the
worry about
gasoline
that.
and they would reimburse Joe for the gasoline they took. So Jess says, okay, he says, now for the next night or two, don't take any more gasoline out of there. He says, because I'm gonna catch the guy that's stealing the gas. And so they waited and waited, and all of a sudden, this guy was out in the river. He pulled away from Joe's place, and then his boat started going put 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 put. Kept doing that, And Joe says, "There's the guy. You've been stealing gasoline in here." And he says, "No, what's in there is sugar." With the gasoline.
Now you can buy a new engine.
That's what he told him. And there was somebody stealing pennies out of Mom's penny drawer. She had a penny drawer. Oh, I say, "Mom, can I please have a penny? Because I like one of those Hershey bars, you know about. Can I please have a penny?" "No, we can't. No, not right now. Not right now." And so somebody was, we'd always ask her. She says, "No, we didn't take any." So somebody was stealing pennies out of the penny drawer. So Joe says, "Okay, now I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to put a couple pennies in here with this guy's picture that's taken it. Okay?" And he says, "It'll only take him once to open that drawer and see his picture with those pennies, nothing else in the drawer, and he'll never steal another one." So the kids came in, the drawer came open, the pennies stayed where they were, and Joe says, "Okay, that takes care of it. He won't steal anymore."
Because he knew who it was.
Yeah, he knew who it was, but he wouldn't. But
You wouldn't tell who it was.
he wouldn't. Joe knew who it was.
Yeah,
and he put that little boy's picture. Right, you know, one of those little school things you
Yeah,
trade.
right,
You know,
right,
you take
yeah.
mine, I'll take you. So,
Well, if we're gonna get something to eat, we gotta get
Oh,
going
yeah.
because they have another place to go this
oh,
afternoon.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I don't know where you guys would like to eat.
I don't know.